Finally, the virtual power shop is here, guys. Are you feeling stuck, insecure, or maybe second guessing some choices in life? Visit thevirtualpowershop.com to enroll in your 22 module course. It's self-paced and available on your terms. What's your well-being worth? Act now for a limited time offer. It's half off the regular $299 price. Your personalized journey is available for only $149. Step into a brighter, empowered future. Thevirtualpowershop.com. Get unstuck. I'm Alma Lee. I'm a psychotherapist and transformative lifestyle resiliency coach and author, and I want to help you reach your goals by teaching you how to step outside of those fear-based mindsets and into your powerful, loving self. Let's get started. How's that time change? Is it still messing with you when you get up in the morning and it's still dark out? Is it still messing with your head, or have you normalized yet? The time change never really bothers me as much as the pollen does, and it's always running in tandem together. I had a terrible headache the other day, and I thought it was dehydration. And it turns out when I left my sliding glass door open, I filled my whole house with pollen. And I didn't realize that until I was sitting in the chair at sunset and the sun was coming in through the window, and I could see just the sheen of pollen on my floors. And so, yeah, lesson learned. And you know what? It reminded me of this time last year when I was sitting here at home, and I recognized that it's been a year. It has been a year since I left my full-time role working with military service members in support, doing mental health work with them. And I got to say, I sit down, I take notes, I write out my thoughts, especially, creating an episode that I want to be impactful and helpful for my listeners. And I'm writing down a summary of different ideas and topics that I want to touch on. And then I realize I'm writing out a checklist. These are all lessons learned. And so today's episode is 10 lessons that I have learned over this past year. And I want to share this with you because I think that I think that it's helpful. I think it's impactful. It certainly has been for me. And it has helped me to evolve and to grow. And so this is going to be a descending order. So I'm going to start with number 10. So 10 lessons learned over this past year after leaving my role and working as an independent contractor and building my business. Number 10, calm down. That's right. So I've always been sort of a high-strung person. Even when I was a kid, when you're going through, normal childhood development, I mean, you're going to have a little bit of chaos. But when you combine that with trauma and you combine that with feeling alienated and alone, then for me specifically, I was a very high-strung child. I was very angry all the time. And this past year has offered up a lot of opportunity for me to find my calm. So that movie Demolition Man with Sylvester Stallone and Wesley Snipes and Sandra Bullock, Enhance Your Calm, John Spartan. So yeah, you got to calm down. That is a key takeaway here. When you calm down, you cultivate clarity. So a lot of time we get caught up in the issues that we don't know the answer to. Usually it's because we're frustrated or we're distracted or we're confused and everything around us is very chaotic. And I will say chaos creates confusion. And when you're confused because of chaos, you're not going to find clarity. So calm down. Calm down your nervous system. Get relaxed. Step away. Take some deep breaths. Find your center. Step away from whatever situation or person that's creating chaos for you and allow yourself the time to alleviate whatever burden you're facing in that moment. It's not a fix-all, but it does help. So anytime you're facing some type of chaos or confusion, or if you're looking for an answer, get calm. Take some deep breaths. Number 9, cannot stress this one enough. Heal. When you experience trauma as a child, as Most people have. I can say that with certainty because of this work. I witness it regularly. When you do not heal, you experience so much distress, and it's unnecessary. That's the thing. It's unnecessary. Um, you know, I'll say this too, because a lot of people, and I've worked with them, go through life as adults justifying really terrible behavior because of unhealed trauma. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is a tough lesson, but there's not any trauma that justifies becoming a horrible person. There's just not. There's nothing that can substantiate you creating more trauma for other people because you haven't healed. And, it's shameful. A lot of times people, they don't ask for help because of culture, because their friend group, the people that they assimilate or work out or live with or connect with, friend group, family, will judge them for seeking help. All I can say to that is push past the fear of that judgment and ask for help anyway, because you deserve it. You deserve to live a life with the clarity, right? See, this is all interconnected. With the clarity of understanding that whatever it was you experienced as a child, you don't have to carry it through your adult life. You just don't. But you are required to heal, and you can't go through life justifying terrible behavior and treating other people poorly because you have experienced something terrible yourself. So that's number 9. Number 8, you like how fast I'm moving through these? Number 8, find your spiritual path. Find whatever that is. And please keep in mind, this is not me proselytizing. I'm not preaching to you. I'm not telling you, oh, you're out of church, you need to get back in church. No. In fact, I encourage you, when you get calm, to center yourself and find out what resonates with you specifically. You may have been raised in church. Do you align with your faith? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. But I do believe this is my personal belief, that I'll share with you, but I do believe that we all require spiritual enlightenment while we're here in our quote unquote meat suits. There's something higher than what we're experiencing right now. There is something of a higher vibration. I highly encourage you to seek out and find whatever that is, whatever course of action you need to take in order to lean in and develop your higher consciousness. Find that spiritual path. And it might be your dogma, it might be your faith, it might be your church. A good, very dear friend of mine found Catholicism late in life. I don't believe she was raised Catholic. I believe she was raised Lutheran, if I'm not mistaken, or Presbyterian. But she is a devotee of Roman Catholicism now. And she reads up and she leans into it, and that is her spiritual faith. That is her path. And I love and adore her for that, because she leads a very authentic life through that experience. So whatever your spiritual path looks like, find out what that is. All of these are interconnected. All of these lessons are interconnected. You finding your spiritual path will help you calm. It will help you heal the previous lessons. So find it, explore that. And you know what? You may try on a few for size to see what fits, what works for you. I think that's perfectly fine. I think that as long as you are consistently seeking out something to enlighten your path, I think that is your spiritual path, don't you think? But look for it. Look for it. Number 7, listen to your intuition. Your intuition will never lie to you. Trust your gut. When you get that little inkly feeling in the back of your, when the hair on the back of your neck stands up, when you just don't feel right about a certain condition or situation, that deserves your attention. It deserves you to pump the brakes a bit on whatever that situation is. Most recently for me, I was getting to know someone, perfectly nice person, have no reasons to believe that there was any ill intent there. But I recognized that our vibrations were off and our motivations were different. And I realized that I was becoming uncomfortable in the connection, in the interaction. And so I stepped aside. I sent this person a very nicely worded message, or at least I thought it was a nicely worded message, and, specified that, hey, I'm going to keep it moving. I'm not mad. I'm not bitter. I'm just, I didn't say I wasn't interested, but basically I was no longer interested, and I felt like the respectful, responsible thing for me to do was to step away because I was listening to my intuition. My intuition was telling me that there's something off here. I couldn't really put my finger on it. All I knew was that I was uncomfortable and that I wasn't interested in continuing the dialogue any further. And I encourage you to empower yourself in the same fashion, whether it's getting to know somebody, a potential job, maybe a movie, watching a movie or a book that you read, or any condition that you face where you start to feel uncomfortable. That is your intuition offering up an opportunity for you to get to know yourself better. Pay attention to that. That's why journaling is so critical. When you write those things down, you connect with yourself better. Number 6, there is no time, there's no space. There's no time and there's no space. This all ties into the quantum physics, the subatomic level of energy, the smallest parts of the smallest parts. There is only now. There's only now, right now, as you're listening to this recording, as you're listening to this podcast, whatever it is you're doing, that's all that exists. Because you're right here, right now, listening to my voice. There's no past, there's no future. There's only right now. And in that, you have the opportunity to explore your current condition and seek to find that path, that spiritual path, that connection. You get it? Are you picking up what I'm putting down here? Don't focus so much on the past. Don't worry so much about the future. Pay attention to what's going on right now, here in this moment, right now. And I talk about the quantum field, quantum entanglement. I think I've mentioned that in a previous episode. But it ties into that, and it ties into those theories of the way that we think, the things that we focus on is what we bring into manifestation. Number 5, try sobriety. Just try it on. You don't have to stay sober, especially if you don't consider yourself having an issue or addiction with vice. But, take a break. Take a break from that thing that you do that you lean into when things get stressful. Whether it's alcohol, maybe it could be something, it could be drugs, gambling, sex, food. Food can be a vice, and that's a tricky one, actually. Shopping, anything that provides you with a sense of ease and comfort in the moment when you feel stressed. I encourage you to explore stepping away and taking a break from that so that you can experience life through a clearer lens. We feel like we're weak and we feel like we're stuck, and that fear causes us stress, which is what causes us to lean into the vice. But the truth is that whatever that vice is, it's what actually makes you feel weak. So when you take a moment of sobriety from whatever that is, you can empower yourself by realizing through the confidence of that experience that you don't actually need it. You don't. You desire it because you feel like it helps you, because you're programmed to believe that it helps you, when in reality, it's actually keeping you stuck in fear. So go into you don't have to look at it from the permanent standpoint, because I think that's what a lot of people kind of, they get scared of the idea of sobriety, because, don't take away my pacifier, don't take away my little blankie, don't take away, my alcohol or my cigarettes or whatever it is, because then that's a fearful thing, the idea that you'll never get it back. Take a break. What is it? No drink November, or sober September, or whatever it was. I might have a glass of wine or a beer or something at some point. As it stands right now, I have no desire to. I just don't drink. Not because, it's not something I just do anymore. Not saying I won't, have a glass of wine or, enjoy that with a friend or something, but it's just not something that I'm dependent upon or that I'm abusing anymore, actually, because God knows I used to abuse alcohol. Lord have mercy. You're powerful. You are so powerful. And I think that that's kind of the essence of that entire message and the whole experience of the meat suit is to keep you in a space where you don't know what your power is. And you can't fully express that or experience that when you're not sober. So consider that. Number 4, pay attention to what people do. If you can, and this is a good one. This is a big one. This is a big one that I learned this year, and it blew my mind. If you can ignore the words that come out of people's mouths or ignore what they write or say, if you can take that and set that aside and then watch what they do, if you can observe a person's actions and ignore their words, you will realize that people never lie. I know. People never lie. And here's the thing about that is when we allow ourselves to stay, connected to people because of the words that they tell us, we're allowing them to manipulate us. We're choosing it. We're choosing the delusion because they want something from us or they tell us something that makes us feel good about ourselves. And so we'd rather pay attention to the words, even though their actions don't line up. So, when you abandon yourself, that's kind of what you're doing. When you're not paying attention to what people are doing and you're allowing them to manipulate you. And it's hard too. I know, I get it. It's hard because, there's the gaslighting when you challenge somebody and say, well, you said you wanted to spend time with me, but you didn't show up. You didn't make any effort. But I told you this is, well, your actions. If you wanted to prioritize spending time with me, then you would do that thing that you say that you want to do, but you're not doing the thing that you say you want to do. So I'm going to pay attention to what you're doing versus what you're saying, and I'm not going to screw myself over in the process. You learn a lot. And when you pay attention to that, you're not abandoning yourself anymore. So, yeah, people's actions, they never lie. They just don't. Number 3, all relationships end. And that was something that came to me in a meditation, about middle part of last year, early summer. And it was one of those profound meditations that I had so much clarity and yet so much gratitude. Actually, I think I remember because it was coming up on the anniversary of my mom's transition back to consciousness. And just remembering that my relationship to her now is it's very transcendental and clear, and there's no ego involved. It's just nothing but presence and pure love now. And I have conversations with my mother all the time. And when she was here in her meat suit, I didn't talk to her that much at all. We didn't really know each other, honestly. But we're connected now, and it's a really cool experience to have that. But when we talk about the meat suit, and Baba Ram Dass, one of the people that I follow, he talks about it being the space suit, kind of the same concept. But the meat suit, this situation right here and now, it doesn't last. All relationships end. They either end from a breakup or someone transitions. That's it. And so it sounds really sad, I get that. But when you look at a connection with another person from the perspective that it is temporary and that it's not permanent, you have a different approach. You can't help but have a different approach in that relationship because you have the mindset that it is impermanent and that it cultivates more gratitude for the time that you have right now. And after all, that's all there is right now anyway, right? So all relationships end. And you go into every relationship with the anticipation that it's going to end, it's more fragile that way. And it's something that that requires more. It requires more intention. It requires more involvement, whether it's a friendship, it's a romantic partnership, whatever. Family member, child, perhaps. Every relationship ends. Someone leaves or someone dies. And it's okay. That's what makes it beautiful. It's the impermanence of it that creates that expansiveness of gratitude to be had, don't you think? Number 2, there are no coincidences. There's no such thing as a coincidence. Whenever you experience a synchronicity, a number sequence, angel numbers, if you will, or if you talk to a friend about a bluebird and then you drive into work and you pull it behind a truck and it's got a bluebird on the back of it. That's a synchronicity. Everything we manifest, everything is from our intention and our energy. And once you realize that, that is when it gets so good. Life gets really, really, really interesting. And that culminates into number 1. And what I realized this past year is this. I was in a deep meditation and I had like this download vision. It was so crazy too. It was so random. It was unprompted by me. But in this vision, download, whatever you want to call it, I'm in this stateroom, this well-appointed, beautiful, luxurious stateroom on board a yacht. And it's a beautiful, like mahogany everywhere. And there was a person there. And I remember the yacht was pulling in to a port in Monte Carlo. Now, I've been to Germany, I've been to the Czech Republic, and flew through Italy when I was deployed, and Ireland. But that's it. I've never really spent any time in Europe. So why I was downloading, and this was summertime last year, why I was getting this download, I have no idea. But I specifically remember the details. I remember that it was a beautiful, just a beautiful yacht, and we're pulling into port in Monte Carlo. And in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, so I've got to be professional because I've got to give a speech. This is why we're pulling up here. And I wanted to play music, and I wanted to be my ridiculous, corny self. I'm a country girl, and I just wanted to be goofy. And I can specifically remember in that download that I had to restrict and restrain my desire to be goofy because people were watching me. It's just these are the details that I remember. And we're pulling into port, and that was it. That was all it was to it. And I was like, God, that was so strange. And I have downloads from time to time in my meditation, but this one stuck with me. So I didn't think anything of it. So that leads into number 1. Number 1 lesson learned this past year. Manifestation is real. Manifestation is real. So I have taken another job, which is why I talk about this past year. So this past year has been what I consider a gap year. And I'm going back to work with service members. And I'm going to move to Italy. I'm moving to Italy. And this was totally nowhere near my radar when I had this download. But where I'm going to be is a 6-hour drive from Monte Carlo. Interesting. And this is not the first time that I've had a manifestation come true. I've got numerous manifestations that have come true. The life that I live here in the Charleston area, I manifested back in 2019. My books, I manifested. I had a dream about my first book. Pay attention. Your manifestations are there for you. This whole life, the reason that we're here, the reason that we exist is so that we learn, so that we expand our consciousness, so that we evolve spiritually. We're not here to suffer. We're not here to struggle, and we're certainly not here to watch other people succeed. So, what are you going to do with these lessons? And what lessons have you learned? I'd highly recommend that you sit down with a journal and sketch it all out. And I think you'll notice it's all connected. All right. This has been a Lee Bird Media production. Don't forget to like, share, follow, and subscribe. Thanks for listening.